Hello, everybody. So today's case is another one that does involve a child. It is incredibly heartbreaking, incredibly unnecessary, and it's definitely disturbing. Um, and it's the case of Shavon Randle. I do want to say very quickly, I cannot find very many photos of Shavon, so I'm just putting that out there. And I don't have, well, I have a decent amount of information, uh, but not so much as about herself. So I just want to put that out there. But with that being said, all the links I used for research will be down below, like always, and let's go ahead and get into this. So Shavon was an innocent 13-year-old, and her loved ones would always call her bubbly and sweet. She had just celebrated her 13th birthday when she would basically eventually be kidnapped and murdered, and it was just days before. So I wasn't able to find much else about her. Like I said, um, just mostly details about the case. And there were so many details and updates about this case that at times this felt a bit convoluted. I believe that's the word I'm trying to say. So I hope that this makes as much sense as possible because I wasn't sure how I wanted to write my script for this. So I apologize if I do sound a bit off at times. But let's continue. Shavon lived in North Texas and she was last seen at 7 a.m. on June 28, 2017, and she'd been abducted. There was an Amber Alert issued for Shavon after police responded to a missing persons call on the 1300 block of South Ridge Drive. A family member told police that she got a phone call from an unknown male saying that they had Shavon and were holding her against her will, and he threatened to harm Shavon. Now, some articles say that this person didn't know who it was and that it was an unknown, but in another article, like this person names who it was, and we know all the information. So I'm going to give you the information as, firstly, as we don't know who they are, and then I'm going to tell you the information from the other article in which we have names. So it might be like I'm repeating stuff, and that's just why I'm doing that. Because I would assume that they do know who it is. Obviously, they named the names in the article, but I'm just doing both perspectives. So, just in case it sounds a little weird. So, yeah, they got a phone call from an unknown male saying that they had Shavon and were holding her against her will and, threatened to harm her. And she had been kidnapped as ransom for drugs stolen by people connected to her family. The woman who called police was Lodoris Randle, and I'm not sure who Lodoris is in relation to Shavon. I just want to put that out there. I could not find anything that said like who she was in relation. I don't want to say like maybe she's her mother, but I'm not quite sure, so I'm not going to say exactly. But Lodoris is one who called police, and she also said her boyfriend told her he had stolen a large amount of narcotics. Police would learn that the suspects were Darius Fields, Devontae Owens, LaPortia Polly, Michael Titus, Laquan Wilkerson, and Desmond Jones. And here's like a quick little timeline that I found just to kind of help us understand events better, because when I was doing my research, like I said, things were quite convoluted. I don't know how to pronounce that. And it was just kind of weird, so I'm happy that I found this timeline to help me out. So, Michael Titus tells Lodoris's boyfriend, Kendall Perkins, about the marijuana and that it was at the Motel 6 with LaPortia Polly in Lancaster. On Monday, June 26th, Kendall and others went to Motel 6 and robbed LaPortia of the drugs and her property. Kendall would be arrested, and he told officers he stole 22 pounds of pot, and LaPortia reported the robbery to the cops, but not the weed. Tuesday, June 27th, Darius Fields and Devontae Owens, so they are considered like the ringleader and the second in command. They try to figure out who has the marijuana, and they ask people who talked about the marijuana. in the hotel. And Michael does confess and tells them about Kendall, the boyfriend, and by then Kendall has told Lodoris what he's done. Wednesday, June 28th, Lancaster Police Department responds to the call about Shavon, and she tells them about the marijuana and says that one was Darius, like one of the guys was Darius. And Lancaster PD calls the FBI in to join the investigation, and FBI agent Jay Anders, um, through an informant, learned that a man known as Trey told the informant he was going to kidnap a child to get his narcotics back, and that was a quote. And the FBI actually identified Trey as Devontae, and he's then charged with kidnapping. Records show Devontae and Shavon's cell phones, quote, traveled in the same direction away from the victim's residence, quote, end quote, and that the suspects called Kendall from Shavon's phone before it was shut off. Laquan Wilkerson is charged as a co-conspirator in the kidnapping, and his phone records show he had incoming and outgoing calls to a number known for Devontae and to Shavon's phone, and his cell showed to follow with the same pattern that Shavon's cell phone took away when she was kidnapped. So they're showing that they were all together and traveling together. Friday, June 30th, Darius and LaPortia are arrested at an Irving hotel, and Darius is charged with unlawful possession of a firearm by a felon, possession of controlled substance, and possession of marijuana. She is charged with possession of marijuana and tampering with evidence. The arrest affidavit says that she was actively flushing marijuana down the toilet when cops actually entered the hotel room. Sunday, July 1st, Desmond leads police and the FBI to a vacant house where the bodies of Michael Titus and Shavon Randle are found, and Desmond is charged with failure to report a felony with serious bodily injury. So, Shavon had been shot 4 times in the head, cheek, breast, and stomach. During the trial, prosecutors would show pictures from the house where Shavon and Michael were found, and both of their bodies were severely decomposed. Some photos were so disturbing that prosecutors asked the family if they wanted to leave. It was said when Shavon was found, she was only wearing her bra and underwear. A Southwestern Institute of Forensic Sciences DNA expert testified that Shavon's DNA was found on a necktie, a towel, and a cord that was apparently used to tie her up. FBI agent Jennifer Brigerman says a .40 caliber gun was found in Michael's hand and said the scene appeared to have been staged. Michael was shot twice, and a medical examiner says that they were not self-inflicted, like it was not possible the way that everything was with his own wounds. In 2022, Darius went to trial for engaging in organized criminal activity. In 2017, he was sentenced to 18 years for his federal weapons charge. Desmond Jones had previously 2 years previously, prior to 2022, had been sentenced to 99 years for the organized crimes charge. Laquan pled guilty and received 40 years. Darius received 55 years. LaPortia received 4 years in prison and 2 years of supervised release on her firearms charge in 2019. Devontae pled into a plea agreement on April 19th, 2022, and was sentenced to 30 years for organized crime. So I couldn't find a sentence for Kendall for the robbery or anything like that, so I'm sure he probably got one. I just could not find one. But he was charged with aggravated robbery in 2019. Darius's trial in 2022, in which he received 55 years, I've seen several sources say that it was for his part in Shavon's kidnapping and murder, and some say it was for just the crime activity. And no one has officially been charged and sentenced with her death yet. So there are conflicting articles, and I'll update you when I can. But as far as we know, some say that he has been charged with her murder and her kidnapping, and some say like it was just for that. So I'm not quite sure, but I will update you as soon as I can. Hopefully this will actually go to trial soon and we'll have more information. But with that being said, that is all I have for you guys on the case of Shavon Randle. It is so sad that this little girl had to be kidnapped and taken from this world because her family member's boyfriend wanted to be fucking stupid and just wanted marijuana so badly. And this little girl had to pay the price for what he did. And it's so maddening that these people thought that taking this child was okay to do because they lost their stuff. It's wild to me that their brains work like that. Like, to harm someone's child is just beyond evil. But like I said, I will update you guys when I can, when I have more information. But thank you guys so much for listening to Shavon's story. If you have any opinions, as long as they are kind, please leave them down below, and I will see you guys very soon. Bye, guys.